Hello, hi Joan. All right, for tonight's practice, we're gonna do just a little bit for our hips, and also then we'll take a longer Shavasana tonight with a Yoga Nidra body scan / relaxation. So let's go ahead and start in a child's pose-ish position. And what I mean by that is we're not going to go all the way into it, because we're going to add in just a little bit of dynamic movement and kind of hybridize cat-cow with a little bit of a flare. So you'll start with your knees roughly hip width, and that could change depending. And arms, maybe you walked forward just a little bit. And then lift your lower legs and pivot your toes over towards the right. And then you're going to send your hips to the left and the arms to the right. So you're kind of in this diagonal stretch for your left side. And you can keep pulling your hips back to your degree of comfort. And then maybe you creep that left arm forward just a little bit more than the right. Shift your body forward and a little bit on that diagonal. Pull your heart forward like you're going to do cow pose. You won't get as much range of motion on this. And then as you set your hips back to exhale, create a little dome in your upper back like the cat stretch. That's the movement. Inhale forward with a little lift of your chest. Tailbone can reach as well. Exhale, spine flexion. Let's do 3 more like that. Slow your breathing, especially the phase of your exhale. One more time. When you finish that one, neutralize your child's pose. You could take your knees a bit wider if that's better for you. Rock your hips back, stretch your arms either forward or back. And feel into your back ribs for your breathing. Notice if there's any unnecessary holding or tension around your jaw or your neck or your shoulders. And then we'll repeat second side. Toes will reach over towards the left. Hips will reach over towards the right. Arms to the left. Now the right side's getting a little longer. Hips can press back as much as you'd like. Right arm stretches a little further. And then glide forward. Turn your sternum upward. And then press back and create just a little bit of a dome in your upper back. And just because of this orientation, it's not going to feel like a really large range of motion. That's fine. More subtlety here. Trying to keep the low back neutral here and move just that upper T-spine. Twice more at least. Final one. Okay, back to your child's pose. similar to what you did last time, or if you wanted to try a different experience, varying how the arms are reaching. In the child's pose, if you're feeling too much sensation in the hips, you could use your blocks and your blanket to create a bolster. Let's take about 3 more slow breaths here. Rise yourself up. Come onto your seat first. And make sure that before you get too comfy, that your yoga blocks are somewhere where you can easily reach them once we do get to the floor. And just make a V shape with your body, hands behind your thighs. And we'll do just a little cat-cow movement here. And on this one, you can let the pelvis rock a bit more. Inhale, chest up, tail back. Exhale, almost like you're gonna curl down onto your back. A few more times. Inhale, lift. And then draw your sternum in and round your back. Feel that scooping from the front. Now we contract the back. And then hollow out the front. One more time, lift your chest. And then this time, as you scoop and hollow your front side, you'll roll all the way down to the floor. One yoga block. We're going to place that between your knees as you take your knees up over your hips. So it feels like reverse tabletop position. And if you bring your knees directly over your hips, you're going to feel just a little bit of core response, and that's what we want. There's a tendency to tuck in with the legs, which would lift your tailbone up and kind of create a little flexion in the spine. But let's see if we can find that neutral position, which should feel just slightly challenging. Arms can rest down and really kind of support you here, but do try to keep pretty soft through jaw, neck, shoulders. We're practicing our hip internal rotation. So you're going to keep a hold of the block and then try to spiral your thigh bones inward. Your heels will go outward. Yes. And bring it back in. Heels might kiss in the middle. And then spiral. Inner thighs rolling away from you. Outer thighs rolling towards you with that hip internal rotation. And then notice if you're back bending at all and see what you can do to find the neutral. And that doesn't mean you need to flatten your back. So if you have a significant low back curve, like I do, there's no need to completely flatten it, but we also don't want to exaggerate it any more than it is. Let's try for about 5 more of these. This is a way to actively stretch your hip. So we're not just pulling on the muscles here. We're asking them to do what they were designed to do. In this case, rotate. The muscles of your hip that don't get a lot of internal rotation can get a little cranky. So this is just kind of like a reminder to them what they're capable of. Muscles love to contract, believe it or not. On this next repetition, so we might be approaching fatigue, let's keep the internal rotation and try for 5 breaths in this position. Add in just a little bit of extra squeeze on that block for the last 2 breaths. Final one. Bring your heels back in, take a hold of your block, set it off to the side for now. And then take your feet nice and wide on your mat with your knees bent and let your legs rock into wipers. Allow for freedom around your pelvis. So a lot of times I mention in this one we want to keep the pelvis level, but now we're just going to let it go. Let it rock, let it spin. You could turn your head the opposite direction as your legs are going. Let's see how that feels. And then legs can come back to center. Let's just do a quick bridge, about 3 breaths. Don't be too picky about how you get there. Just drive through your feet, get your hips open in front. Bring some ease back into your neck and shoulders. And then if you have your block right beside you, keep your hips up and tuck the block underneath your sacrum. It can go either direction, just be sure it doesn't land in your low back curve. Set your hips back down on your yoga block. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh and let your right leg open. We've done this one before, and so it's optional if you want to add in this little rocking or if you prefer just to be still in the figure 4. So you can just kind of rock right and left. And if the block doesn't feel like it's in the right place, make some adjustments. And then pause off the rocking for a moment. Find the work in your outer hip. See if you can make your right ankle just a little lighter. And if you could even lift it off of your left leg for a moment, try that. Try to keep your pelvis pretty level. Nice smooth breath for 3, 2, and then cross again, find the rock. Once again, pause, find stillness. Option to add in that activation is you just lift that right leg up while you keep the external rotation. Knee trying to turn outward, heel trying to spin towards you. Breathing. And then cross back down to the figure 4. We'll rock again. And then third round, last round on this side. Lift your leg if you can, or at least just make it a little bit lighter on your left leg. Keep spiraling that right thigh outwardly. And then figure 4 rock. As you come back to the center and find some stillness here, keep your left leg where it is and stretch your right leg down. It can come all the way down as long as that feels all right for you, or you could keep it slightly bent. And just let that right leg lay there. Rebend your right leg, plant your foot, left ankle over the right leg. Open it into the figure 4 shape. If you like the rocking, let's start that nice and easy. And then pause. Float your left thigh off of your right leg. Try to maintain rotation. That range might bounce back a little bit. You might not be able to keep as much. That's okay. And set it down. Little rock. Pause in the middle. Find your active range. Lift your heel and ankle off of your right leg as you stamp your right foot into the floor. Trying to bring that left heel towards you as the knee moves away. Notice if your back is trying to arch more. And then set it down. Rest or rock. Final round like that. You're going to lift off. And then rest it back down. Last time, little rock, rock. And then we'll come into that extended leg. Lowering the left all the way or most of the way down. Opening up the front of that left hip. Let your ribs be nice and heavy up front here. Connect to your lateral breathing out to the sides of your rib cage. And then rebend your knees, both of them, plant your feet, curl your tail up off of that block. Try to stretch your pelvis both up and forward away from your ribs. Block comes off to the side for now, and then let's articulate down to the ground, one bone at a time. And then once you land on your back again, you could take some cannonball rocks or rolls or some kind of a happy baby pose or reclining child's. Just tucking the knees in. Take about 5 to 8 breaths, just sorting that out. Okay, next up. So I'm not sure that I've ever done this with you guys, this next pose. It's not too tricky, but it's just a little bit different. So to get into it, let's take the left leg up, like we're gonna do a hamstring stretch. And then lay your right leg like you're gonna come into tree pose. So your knee is gonna open out to the side. And just do that a couple times, kind of fanning your leg wide. Come onto the outside edge of your foot. And then you're gonna lift that right leg. Try to maintain the butterfly. Left hand is gonna reach and hold the right foot. And then you're gonna try to stretch your knee towards the front right corner of your mat. And then your left leg is just gonna lay on top of that right foot. And then you could let go with your hands since your leg is just kind of holding it there. Now, if this doesn't feel great for you, you could just do a supine tree pose and just place your foot beside your leg instead. And then you're gonna wanna get super comfy with neck and shoulders. Support yourself however you need to there. We're going to be here for about 2 minutes or so. Arms could be in that cactus shape or on your trunk somewhere to find your breath. If you sense anything that surpasses discomfort and kind of moves towards pinching or any kind of pain or sharpness, you're going to want to try to move out of that and reset yourself so that you can really relax and enjoy the shape. Just a few more breaths here. Observing those sensations around your pelvis, your inner thigh, maybe even your knee or your foot or your ankle. And then to get out of this, let's just rebend the left knee to start. Plant your left foot. Slide your right leg out from underneath you and take it vertical. Hands behind your leg, rotate your right ankle. Both directions, finding the biggest circle that you can make in that pain-free range. And then let's also do a few leg extensions or knee extensions. So you're just going to bend your knee nice and tight like you had it, and then extend and kick to the sky. Finding that edge in both of these movements. Back of the thigh contracting to bend. Front of the thigh contracting to extend. Last one. Great. And then let's just reset the legs to bent, feet wide. Let's go knees together, just for a few breaths. If they don't touch, it's okay. Let's move on to that second side. Right leg is going to kick straight up vertical just to get out of your way. Left leg, come onto the outside edge of your left foot, turn your knee outward, and just butterfly your leg a couple times out and in. Notice where that resistance starts and just be aware of that range. Kind of teasing that edge without going beyond it, coaxing the body. We're not trying to force anything. And then you can lift that left leg, maintain that external rotation, hold on to your foot so you can tuck it underneath you. And it kind of goes under the right seat or the right, underneath the right thigh somewhere. And then your right leg can lay back down. What do you want to do with your arms this time? Take it slow here as we reverse out of this. Plant your right foot again. Keep that knee bent. Stretch your left leg up over your hips. And we'll roll the ankle first. Reverse it. And then bend and extend your leg. Find your end range. Give a little squeeze there isometrically in both directions. How closed can you make your knee joint? And how open? It's not unusual to hear a little snapping and popping, especially in knees and ankles. My understanding that as long as there's no pain, that's generally not cause for concern. Let your left leg come all the way down to the ground. Actively reaching your left leg away from your pelvis. What you do with your ankles up to you. You could flex it or kind of point your toes forward. And then we'll give our right leg a squeeze in towards our trunk, pulling it slightly out towards the right side. So we're not crowding the ribs, but we're getting a little bit of compression there on the front side of the hip. Notice low back sensation in this position. And then bring your knee directly over your pelvis again. Take your hands and interlace them, and you're going to press your palms into that right thigh and kick your right leg back into your hands. So this is, again, another isometric stretch, resistance stretch. Just a few breaths here. Beautiful. Both knees bend, both feet plant. Bridge pose. And come on back down. Extend your right leg towards the floor, make it active. Left leg in and out slightly. In towards the body, out towards the left. Release, stack your knee over your pelvis, thigh bone pretty vertical. Use your resistance. Leg into hands, arms pressed back. Also remember that that right leg is adding to your stability, so press your heel down. Last time to bridge pose. Take it slow. Maybe you vary your leg position a little bit here, so if you always do it with your toes pointing forward and your feet hip width, maybe this time you take your feet a little wider, a little closer together. Turn your toes inward or outward. Let's see how that changes the sensations around your back, your hips, your buns, maybe even your knees. 2 more really slow breaths. And then come on down nice and slow. Okay, So now we're going to get set up for meditation rest, and I'm going to show you one way that you could set up if you have your blocks and extra blankets. For this setup, you would need either 2 blankets or beach towels or something like that, and 2 yoga blocks. So it would go like this. You're going to put your blocks end to end, about 3/4 of the way down on your mat. One blanket is going to be in a roll like this. This is optional. The other blanket, I have mine in one of the smaller, skinnier triangles. That would go towards where your feet go. And then you would wrap your feet up into this little swaddle. Knees can come out a little wider. Feet stay together like a really conservative butterfly shape. So that one looks something like this. And then you could use a little small towel underneath your neck if you feel like that would support you better, or maybe something at the back ledge of your skull. So I'm going to give you about a minute or 2 to get ready for your rest. If you need to get up and get something, I will wait. If you have that eye cover and you have any light in your space, shut that down. Darkness helps our brain to come into that resting state. And then let's just take a few breaths here, more conscious breaths, more intentional breaths. Inhaling for a count of 3, 4, or 5. Exhaling for a count of 5, 6, or 7. About 5 more of those. And then just let your breath flow as it does naturally. You can trust in the wisdom of your body to know how to breathe now while you're resting. This Yoga Nidra practice is one way for us to get in touch with our deeper layers. That layer of awareness that isn't quite awake, but it's also not sleeping. There is consciousness, awareness, connection, but without any intentional dialogue. So while the mind might have some activity, it's more of an observer, less of a participator. This kind of gets you off the hook for a little while. Bringing you back to your most natural state, which is relaxation. Can you make your skin any softer or smoother, more mellow? Imagine that you could breathe through your skin so that your exhale becomes a full body hush. Dropping into stillness. Be aware of your whole body right now. Nothing in particular, just the fact that you have a body. As your eyelids remain heavy on your eyes, see yourself in your mind's eye, in this shape, in this state, recalling the clothing on your body, the landscape around you. Spanning out a bit further, seeing your whole dwelling, the time of day. What does the sun or the moon look like right now? Come back to the wave-like quality of your breath. Feel it passing through your throat, filling up belly and ribs, gliding down into your back. Softening your jaws. Melting around your shoulders. In Yoga Nidra, we offer the concept of Sankalpa, our deepest resolve. This could be something that you are hopeful for, something you've been seeking out, some sort of energy that you would like to call to action. Be the provider of that energy to the universe or others. Or just simply asking yourself how you want to feel. And then make that your statement for now. And the statement is positive. It's not just hopeful. It's resolute, affirmative. I am. And say it to yourself a few times. Make it robust. I'll be guiding you on a journey through your body now. Try to stay awake and aware. And let your body respond naturally without trying to do it well. Don't worry if you get a little lost or if you start to drift. That's part of the process. Bring your attention to your third eye space, center of your forehead. Travel to your throat with your attention. Feel your right shoulder. Right elbow. Wrist. The tip of your right thumb. Index fingertip. Middle fingertip. Ring fingertip. Pinky fingertip. Notice all 5 fingers at the same time. Feel the palm of your right hand and the back of your right hand. Sense your wrist, elbow, right shoulder, and come back to the hollow of your throat. Go to your left shoulder, elbow, left wrist, left thumb tip, index fingertip, middle fingertip, ring fingertip, pinky fingertip. Be aware of all 5 fingers on your left hand. Feel into the palm of your left hand and the back of your hand. Travel to your left wrist, elbow, left shoulder, and the center of your throat. Guide your awareness to the right side of your chest, the center of your chest. Feel into the left side of your chest. Come to the middle of your chest. Rest your awareness at the center of your heart. Sense the rhythm of your heartbeat, or see it in your mind's eye. Connected, reliable, relaxed. Move your awareness to the area that surrounds your navel. Soft and receiving of breath. Feel the canopy of your whole belly, the rise and the fall. Move your attention to the right side of your pelvis. Feel into your right hip joint. Sense your right knee. Feel your right ankle. Now your first toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe. Sense the fifth toe on your right foot. Sense all 5 toes at once. Bring your attention to the sole of your foot and the top of your foot. Go to your right ankle, knee, right hip, and feel into the center of your pelvis now, that deep bowl. Move to the left side of your pelvis. Left hip joint. Knee. Left ankle sensation. First toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, feel the fifth toe on your left foot. Now notice the 5 toes on your left foot at the same time. The sole of your foot. The top of your left foot. Ankle. Knee, hip, center of pelvis, guide your attention back to belly. Middle of chest. The space just behind your sternum and in front of your shoulder blades. Heartbeat sensation at your throat. Nostrils. Right eye. Left eye. Both eyes together. Bring your sensory awareness back to the space in the middle of your forehead. All three eyes at once. More effortlessness. More peace. What do you need? Ask for it. Make it so. I am. I am. I am. Let's invite our bodies to stay in this state of rest for a while longer. Let the mind watch the body. Let the breath move the body just from the inside, expanding and condensing. Filling up and emptying. Receiving and letting go. Drawing nourishment from your breath. Satisfaction. And contentment with this moment right now. What a gift. You can gradually start to introduce some more thoughtful breathing, more intentional. Maybe counting the length of each phase of your breath once again. Creating a little sound with your breath, that light sigh. And just start to turn your head nice and easy, right to left. Separate, wiggle your toes. Tap each one of your fingertips towards your thumb one at a time. Roll your wrists and ankles, starting small and slow. And then letting your body guide you into any other movements that feel nice after your rest. Potentially you could bring your knees up towards your body again, giving yourself a squeeze. Rocking right to left or rolling front to back. Side lying position perhaps. Fetal pose. When you know the time is right for you, you'll come back up to a comfy seat, using any of the supports that you have at your disposal to create a good base for yourself from underneath. And then we'll find space in the spine column vertically without over-efforting there. Soft jaws remain. Circle back to your Sankalpa. Let that be your guiding light for right now and as long as you need it. Let's bring hands together near the heart. Take a quick bow, saluting this practice, this community, and every little bit of peace that we can find in the world. Let's create some of that. Thanks so much for coming tonight. Namaste.